What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and in the aftermath of Gina Carano being fired from Lucasfilm for her political opinions, there's been a ton of backlash against Disney. But that may only be the beginning if what we're about to talk about today has any validity and any truth to the words and whispers that are swirling around surrounding The Mandalorian Season 3. Because right now, we've heard about drama behind the scenes that all got kind of pushed away, but now it's all starting to surface again. When you put a lot of things together, this could be an absolute disaster for Disney Star Wars. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Pedro Pascal. Because in addition to Gina Carano being fired, there was a big announcement announced with Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us. He is going to be playing Joel in The Last of Us. I made a video about it because I do cover video game stuff as well on the channel. But what I really didn't think about then is what has come up since and what some people are saying and connecting the dots and what could be an absolute disaster for Disney Star Wars. If not only Baby Yoda has now left the show, Gina Carano has now left the show, and now the so-called lead Pedro Pascal doesn't sound like there's too much certainty whether he will be returning for Mandalorian Season 3. Take a look at this article. Pedro Pascal may exit The Mandalorian following Gina Carano. Obviously, Gina Carano was fired, but when you look at the way that they phrased it and the fact that she's not under contract type of thing, it's making a lot of people in the entertainment industry feel like no one's contracts are ready for Mandalorian Season 3. We talked about the drama behind the scenes of Mando Season 2, how they may have changed a lot of it, so this could be, like, this end of this season might just be an out for them. I think people forgot about that after the Luke Skywalker hype, and people wanted to say those reports were wrong. Honestly, it feels like there was a lot of truth to those rumors. The fact that Mando is going on an over 2-year hiatus, that is the bottom line. This show is not going to be seen for 2 years. You're telling me that the biggest thing Disney has going, that Star Wars has going for their streaming service, yeah, they just decide they're going to take an extra year off in between. No, something is fishy here, and a lot of people are starting to put this together. While Star Wars fans are canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions in droves, it's suggested that Pedro Pascal may exit The Mandalorian, which follows Gina Carano getting fired from the series by Disney and Lucasfilm. It also suggests The Mandalorian may be canceled and the Season 3 may not happen. Now, I don't think that will necessarily be the case. I wouldn't put it past them, but I would think it could be completely shifted to be focused on a different character. It's not called Din Djarin, it's called The Mandalorian. And now there are a lot of Mandalorians in this show, aren't there? But let's just take it with a grain of salt as we go on. YouTuber Grace Randolph put some puzzle pieces together. And again, Grace, she's been wrong about shit, she's been right about shit, but she got thrown on the bus by people that said, oh, obviously, there's nothing going on with Pedro behind the scenes. There 100% was issues behind the scenes with The Mandalorian. That's why we had an episode that was specifically catered to just have him take off his helmet for no reason whatsoever. Let's be clear about that. There's 100% was validity to those rumors. And now they're kind of popping up again. But the big thing was the announcement of Pedro Pascal starring in The Last of Us TV series. A big show for a rival streaming service in HBO. This is likely going to be on HBO Max. I guess we don't have 100% confirmation on that. But Pedro Pascal is going to be playing the lead role with his face showing for HBO's Last of Us. And it is very important that they change the wording of this article, and I want to read it to you the way it is now. They talk about Pedro getting hired, what the plot is going to be, all of these things. Then they say this: Pascal currently stars in Disney Plus's hugely popular and acclaimed series, The Mandalorian, which recently received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Drama. He will continue on the Star Wars series, where he is used sparingly because of the nature of his character, the fact that he's almost never the one actually on set, though The Last of Us has him in first position. Now, what first position means is that any scheduling conflicts, The Last of Us takes priority. So that is already when you look at Pedro Pascal, he has already shifted his focus. His primary priority is no longer The Mandalorian. It is now The Last of Us for Neil Druckmann, where he plays Joel, where he's going to get his head caved in by Abby. But that's a whole different, story. But if you look at the way this article first posted, look at what it says. Now, this is the original article. I went ahead, Internet Archive, the original article. This is what it said first. I hear he could continue on the Star Wars series, where he's used sparingly because of the premise of his character. The Last of Us has him in first position. What that tells me, and they were they were quick to edit this out and change it. What I think is that there is no contract for Mandalorian Season 3. That's what a lot of people are saying now. And that's why there is no, 100% that he will be back. Jon Favreau himself said it's not like they plan these things out. He writes it as he goes. Now we know that Mandalorian is taking a 2-year break. Your big breakout Disney Plus show. There is something going on behind the scenes. I continue to tell it, and a lot of people don't want to listen. But, again, let's go back to what it says now. The actor recently became available for a new series, attracting multiple big offers for top premium networks and streamers opting to do The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal is now focused on The Last of Us as opposed to Mandalorian. That is a fact, and that is the bottom line. He is now doing that. That is the priority for him over anything associated with The Mandalorian. Now, could he still be completely, as involved as he was before, just not on set, only does voice acting? I guess, but it seemed like he was upset with doing just that, didn't it? That's what it felt like to me. And the fact that he then became available and then goes to The Last of Us, there is something going on there. And that's kind of what Grace Randolph was saying. Here's one snippet from what she said. Is Pedro Pascal done with The Mandalorian now that he's the star of HBO's The Last of Us? Deadline, which broke the story on the eve of Disney Investor Day. I wonder why it was important to get it out before then. But the article said Pascal could continue. That's the word they used, but Last of Us is his priority. They also said Pascal recently became, which is interesting, available for a new series, which is interesting because it's highly unusual for the star of a flagship show to join another show, especially for a competing studio and streaming service. So I believe if Pedro was locked in for The Mandalorian Season 3, which doesn't have any contracts in place based on the description, I believe the article would have stated definitively he was doing both. So there is something going on. Like I said, if that happens, Disney Star Wars just cannot get it right. That's the bottom line. We know that. We have seen that. Regardless of what all these people want to say, I know, the people that were reporting that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to retcon the sequel trilogy and that Favreau won't let Kathleen Kennedy on set. Kathleen Kennedy has no control. Well, suddenly, a lot of those same people are now saying that, Kathleen Kennedy, it was her decision to fire Gina Carano. You can't have it both ways, can you? So something is not right there. Either they're being reported false information or they are lying to you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it anymore at this point. But Disney Star Wars, you have a moment like Luke, and then ever since then, it's just been downhill. They cannot recover. They cannot get right. Lucasfilm is full of people that have no idea what they're doing. But when it comes to The Mandalorian, in addition to these, connecting the dots with Pedro, right? Because that is, very thin strings that we're kind of looking to be like, is there something going on behind the scenes? I have been saying for forever that there is something going on with Mandalorian Season 3 because after people reported this, I said that's bullshit. The Mandalorian Season 3 reportedly starts filming in April. I said that's garbage. I don't believe it, and there's a reason why. These people don't do their research. This is based off this post on productionlist.com. Mandalorian Season 3, shoot date April 5th, Los Angeles. Something doesn't line up here. And when you look at this is not a reliable site, and I keep trying to tell people this, but they do not want to listen. Productionlist.com says Mando's shooting April 5th in LA. There, it must be verified, guys. It's confirmed. Well, if you look at the Obi-Wan series, the Kenobi series, that says it's starting March 1st in Boston, England, and London, England. Now, why is this important? Because of something that Ewan McGregor himself said. This is important. Just listen closely to what the man is saying.
We start making it in the late spring, and we're going to be shooting it here in LA, and not as there's lots of. It's so funny. Every week there's a new report. There was someone. My dad keeps sending me links saying, "I thought you were shooting it in LA," because there's another tabloid, expose that we're shooting it in some bizarre town and somewhere, and then we were meant to be making it in Boston, and then we were meant to be making. No, it wasn't Boston. It was Boston, England, and but we're not. We're shooting it in LA, and.
So that is very important what he's saying. We're shooting it late spring in LA. You can't be shooting both at the same time. There is no way Mandalorian starts in LA on April 5th and then Kenobi starts in late spring, which would be late April or May in LA. It cannot happen. It doesn't work that way. Otherwise, they would be doing something while they're working on Book of Boba Fett right now. But that is not the case. This is crap in the same way that this is crap. Ewan McGregor just said himself they're filming in LA in late spring, yet this thing still says this. There's problems going on with Mandalorian. I've been saying it for a while. This most recent thing about Pedro, if that is true, oh my God, that will be devastating for Disney Star Wars. The one thing they have going for them, they can't keep going because then their lead actor leaves. They fire Gina Carano, the most popular person on that fucking show, and now they've gotten rid of Baby Yoda. Lucasfilm is a fucking mess. Disney Star Wars is garbage, and they have no idea what they are doing. The backlash is continuing for Gina Carano, and if there's any steam to these rumors at all, man, it is not looking good for the future of Star Wars. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. I'll talk to you guys later.